Look, it was the best creepy doll I could find, okay? Anyway, I like the Chucky series, aka the Child's Play series. You know, the movies about the killer doll that says the fuck word? I'm reviewing all of them. This movie is really good. I know I just said I like the series and all, but seriously, Child's Play is a legitimately good film. It's not as campy as some of the later films in the series, as you'll see, but that is not to say that it's without camp. Overall, though, this is just a very well-executed slasher. I think what sets it apart is the escalating tension. Even though I knew exactly where this was going, it still got me legitimately worked up at times. If you don't know, the movie follows serial killer Charles Lee Ray as he's shot during a robbery, and he begins this strange chant next to a good guy doll just before he dies. Soon after, young Andy Barkley is gifted a good guy doll by his mom. And a huge chunk of the movie keeps it ambiguous if it is Chucky or Andy committing these murders.
They look like footprints, don't they? Very small footprints.
What are you implying?
I don't know.
Now, given that Chucky is a pop cultural icon, he's on sodas now, the whole ambiguity element doesn't work as well anymore because no one is watching this unaware that Chucky is the real killer. Charles Lee Ray's little chant transferred his soul into the doll's body. However, in comparison with something like the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, where your knowledge of the franchise through pop culture kind of hinders your enjoyment, I think the ambiguity here still works in a different way. And it's because of Andy, who is just a great character. The beginning really establishes him as a lonely, alienated kid, and your heart just breaks for him.
I'm a good guy, and I'll be your friend to the end. You will? Sure I will. Heidi ho, ha ha ha. I saw this one.
Which makes him more prone to this abusive relationship he has with Chucky. It's much more tragic that this lonely kid is being manipulated like this, and even worse, disbelieved.
They're taking me away unless you say something. Please, say something. Come on, Chucky, say something. Come on, Chucky, say something. Tell me. Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
Apparently in the original version of the script, Andy was supposed to be the killer, and the Chucky doll was just supposed to be a red herring. But honestly, I think that would have been a much worse movie. Not just because Chucky is a great character, but Andy is just too likable to really be turned into a villain like that, in my opinion. The writer and creator of the Chucky series, Don Mancini, has been open that this film draws a lot on his personal experiences, particularly his alienation being a queer kid and a strained relationship with his dad, which plays out in the whole Chucky-Andy dynamic. Even though these movies are silly and campy, they still feel very personal to Don Mancini. There's a reason he's written all 7 Chucky movies. Andy's whole character feels very emotionally real, which is a lot to say for a killer doll movie, where the doll says fuck. And this all builds to an incredibly done reveal scene that at this point is iconic.
I'm Chucky, wanna play?
What makes it so great is that the film is just so confident that it's built the tension up so well that the jump scare cue doesn't have any sound effect attached to it. Credit to director Tom Holland, not Spider-Man, and also not Aristoteles Marikos. Sorry if I butchered the name, it's on the screen. That was the guy who directed The Timekeepers of Eternity. Tom Holland directed the original series, so it was... And props to the editors, whose names I'll show on screen here. The editing is top-notch in this scene. Even when you know what's about to happen, it happens so fast that it still kinda gets you. And then Chucky finally reveals himself.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
It's at this point that I should mention Brad Dourif's performance as Chucky. He's perfect for the character. Like, he's up there with Robert Englund as Freddy as impossible to recast, or at the very least any recasting won't compare to the original. The way he screams is just so pitch perfect. also want to mention the effects on display here. The whole series is really a showcase for good puppetry. In this movie, they're the most primitive, naturally being the oldest, but they're the good old-fashioned every trick in the book kind of effects. Little people and or kids dressed as Chucky, articulated dummies, or just plain flailing the doll around. Sometimes it's really obvious what they're doing, but it's charming. Something I appreciate about this approach is that because the effect is different for every shot, your eyes never adjust to it. It always looks kind of different because it is kind of different with every shot. My only real critique is this whole scene of Chucky meeting with his old voodoo instructor. I know that sounds silly if you've never seen the movie, but trust me, it does make sense in context. It's just this scene feels kind of rushed. I mean, I guess it's to explain how this serial killer knew a spell to transfer his soul into a doll. But I don't know, we're introduced to this voodoo instructor character, Chucky's relationship with him, and the rules of this ritual that he's done. All in the same scene that's like 2.5 minutes long. It just happens a little too fast and a little too sloppily for my liking. And the fact that Chucky can only swap into a human body of the person he first revealed his true self to, that being Andy, it's just a little contrived. I just feel like this whole part of the movie could have been polished a little bit more. The movie is paced really well throughout, so I don't think I would have minded spending a little more time here. That being said, the scene immediately following it is great. Alex Vincent, who plays Andy, gives a great child performance here, particularly in this scene.
Chucky's here, and he's going to kill me. But Chucky is here, and he's going to kill me!
The whole climax with Chucky chasing after Andy is really effective because you care about Andy and you want to see him make it out. And Andy's final moment where he stands up to Chucky and admittedly corny final line.
Please. We're friends to the end, remember?
This is the end, friend.
It's so simple, but it's perfect. What really works in this movie is the building of tension and the way it endears you to Andy, and the heart of the movie. And the trash-talking killer doll helps too. This film begins with a chilling opening montage of Chucky being reconstructed. It's really unique and honestly gross. Maybe that's just because you know a human soul is going through all of this and it makes it unnerving. The super close-up framing and abrasive sound design really helps set the mood. One thing that's great about these movies, I mentioned it briefly in the last review, the brisk pacing in all of them. The longest film in the whole series is 97 minutes, and honestly, most of them are like 85 minutes. There is just no fat on any of these movies. These movies are skinny, and it makes these movies so much more enjoyable because, you know, if something stupid happens or something you don't like, it's probably just already moving on to the next thing. Like here, the whole exposition scene at the beginning feels a little forced.
Every supermarket tabloid in the country is running headlines about Andy Barkley and his killer good guy doll. The police were smart. They denied everything, which is fine because now they can't hurt us, but the mother's a different matter. She backed up her boy's story in court, so now she's under psychiatric observation.
But it works, and pretty instantly you're already moving on to the next thing. Sure, they could have rewritten that exposition scene to be 10 minutes longer and tell all that same information but more cleverly and subtly, but it would have dragged the movie's pace to a halt. There's something to be said about just getting to the point, especially in a movie like this. So anyway, the Good Guy Company is getting a lot of bad press about the whole situation from the first movie. There's some rumors going around that the doll was tampered with by an employee, and to prove that the doll was not responsible, they recreate the same doll from the crime scene. What could go wrong with that? Meanwhile, Andy's mom has been taken to a psych ward for blaming Chucky for the murders, and Andy has just been adopted into a new family. This movie continuing the themes of alienation from the first movie. Andy finding himself in a new family and not really fitting in, plus dealing with the trauma of what happened in the first film. Ugh, another horror film about trauma. I reiterate, Don Mancini wrote every single Child's Play film. So even though this is like a cash grab sequel that came out the year after the first movie, it still maintains that emotional core that made the first film work.
Don't go.
What's the matter?
I miss my mother.
Oh, honey, I know you do.
There's lots of great character details that I really appreciate. Like how Andy immediately goes looking around for things around the house because he's scared Chucky is waiting for him. And also there's some good visual storytelling conveying Andy's emotions. Honestly, the whole film is well shot. Credit to director John Lafia and cinematographer Stefan come on, man. But it's not just Andy that gets a focus, it's also his entire foster family. His new parents wanting to help him but suspecting he's a troublemaker because the whole blame it on Chucky thing. And his foster sister Kyle, who is a troublemaker. There's a perfect character establishing dialogue exchange with her.
These things are very bad for you.
Then why do you do it?
Because grown-ups are allowed to do things that are bad for them.
You're not a grown-up.
I'm beating around the bush here. I also like how this movie leans more into comedy. Chucky being more of a shit stirrer this time.
I like
Hug this!
Like when he digs the grave for the doll he just killed with a toy shovel and laughs maniacally. Because in the last movie they spent most of the runtime making it ambiguous if Chucky was the killer. Now they can just have fun with Chucky being around from minute one. And they have so much more fun with the dramatic irony of no one but us knowing that Chucky is alive.
Hi, I'm Tommy.
And honestly, Brad Dourif's delivery is so good that sometimes he just cracks me up with a mundane line.
Where is it? Where is it?
Where is it? The set design is really good here too. Add on to that the stylized camera work and really beautiful saturated colors. The movie's really nice to look at. The movie mostly follows Chucky's attempts to get Andy alone and soul swap, mostly involving getting Andy in trouble. And the hijinks are really fun. One could argue that all this is just a rehash of the first film. You know, Chucky getting Andy in trouble, people don't believe Andy when he blames Chucky, and rinse repeat, right? But this element is so much more present in this film. In the first movie, Andy's mom is pretty supportive throughout. Definitely more supportive than the parents in this movie.
For crying out loud, Joanne, the child needs professional help.
Oh, stop pretending you're worried about Andy. You never wanted him here in the first place.
That's not true.
So what are you suggesting we do? Send him back?
Well, you don't have to make it sound so horrible. He's not our child.
And to me, that wrinkle makes it so much more effective because it's more interpersonal. You know, he's not going to go to jail for writing "fuck you, bitch" on his homework assignment, but he's going to be ostracized for it, and that makes me sad. And the scene right after with Kyle is just so well written.
I've lived with dozens of different families, and they always seem to send me away just when I'm getting comfortable. But you know what?
What?
Every time it happens, it just makes me stronger because it reminds me that the only one I can count on is myself. Okay, and you have to learn that now.
I was not expecting to be this invested in the family drama aspect of these movies, but it really wins you over. None of the characters feel like caricatures. They all feel real, and your heart just breaks for them. And you don't want to see him get killed. Even someone like the dad, even though he's kind of a hard ass, he's understandable. He's not just the caricature of the mean dad who doesn't get his foster kid. You can tell he's like trying to understand and love this kid, but he just doesn't believe him. So when he dies, you're invested because it feels like a person died and he's not just a body to add on to the pile.
How's it hanging, Phil?
I like how these movies maintain the balance between keeping Chucky funny and scary. You know, having your monster be such a short king, it makes it a little hard to be scared of him, but most of his attack scenes are about him hiding and jumping in for the kill at the right moment. And I think that's all perfectly exemplified in one jump cut.
Bitch, you hurt me.
How much further till we get to the kid?
A ways.
Step on it.
This scene is just the funniest thing ever.
What's your name, buddy?
Chucky.
And like after that, we get this one of the weirdest, craziest line deliveries I've seen.
Let go! You crazy bitch!
That dude did not have to go so hard in reading that line. So everything leads to a dramatic confrontation in the good guy factory. The factory is a great setting that allows for lots of fun little set pieces. And again, the fact that we're endeared to these characters makes the scene that much more effective. Though I will say, this has to be the most inefficient production line ever constructed. Overall, this movie rules. It maintains the heart of the first film, but ups the silliness and camp and just has more fun with the idea. And it concludes with a genuinely touching final line.
Where are we going?
Home.
Where's home?
Andy, I have no idea.
This movie immediately starts with a jump scare. Uh-oh. That can't be good. I like the opening title sequence again of Chucky being reconstructed. It's very out of left field and feels a little trying too hard to be Hitchcockian, but I like it. And it has a very, very silly ending. So it's been 8 years since the previous movie. In kayfabe. In reality, this came out the year after Child's Play 2. And the good guys are being brought back. I love the corporate satire in this and part 2.
Doesn't matter what we're selling. The bottom line is the bottom line. And what are children, after all, but consumer trainees?
What I don't love are the obnoxious jump scare cues. I'm surprised they let Chucky grab this jar of gumballs without a jump scare cue. This whole scene just doesn't really work for me. Chucky fuckies around with this guy and it's supposed to be tense, but this guy's a piece of shit.
It's just my wife's expecting me. It's our anniversary.
Fine, Petzold.
Well, I guess I could review the Larrabee report after dinner.
I don't care about him, and you know he's gonna die. You're just waiting for Chucky to show up. Though it does give us the best Chucky one-liner of all time.
Don't fuck with the Chuck!
Legitimately the best part of the movie. I love the way he delivers it. Duh! So anyway, Chucky searches up Andy, even though he couldn't switch souls in the last movie. It was like it had been too long. He'd been in the body too long. He couldn't do it anymore. I guess it reset because he's in it's a new doll body, but I don't know, it's not clear. And he finds out he's been put in a military school for bad behavior. This is the most controversial part of the movie because this setting sucks. It's just not as interesting. Maybe it could be interesting, but you have all the like school movie tropes here. The bullies, the authoritarian adults, the nerdy best friend, the girl who only exists to be a love interest. There's a thematic point to it, like it sort of draws this parallel between growing up and repressing who you really are.
You must be new. Otherwise, you know they don't tolerate any form of individuality here.
And subtextually suppressing a gay identity or just being more effeminate.
We don't play with dolls, do we now, Tyler? Dolls are for girls.
But Charles is my new best friend.
Tyler, you know better than to talk back to a superior officer.
It's not subtle in the slightest, but this is a Chucky movie. What do you expect? Anyway, Chucky catches on and realizes that because he has a new body, he can tell someone else about his secret. Chucky, you little shit. It's a shame he realized that after mailing himself to Andy. What can you do? This movie mostly follows Andy trying to stop Chucky from stealing this other kid, Tyler's soul.
Just think. Chucky's gonna be a bro.
It's a bit racist, Chucky.
Is that fucking blackface, dude?
If you can't tell, this one is just not as good as the other two. The characters just aren't as strong. And the movie plays too much into standard horror tropes that the first two ignored. The killer's here. Oh no, the character's going where the killer was. Oh no, The killer's gone! Jump scare cue! The characters in this movie are either stock characters, asshole military bros, or Andy and Chucky, who are the real stars of the show. But even Andy, you know, I don't put this on the new actor playing Andy. I understand why they wanted to age him up. It's mostly the writing. It just feels like we're retreading ground from the last movie. The new wrinkles just aren't interesting enough. He's mostly just traumatized from his run-ins with Chucky. And it continues those themes of alienation, like I said, and you do feel bad for him with all the verbal abuse he suffers, but it's at the hands of those one-note asshole characters. You know, like the foster parents in the last one I talked about. They have that little bit of you understand where they're coming from, even if they're kind of assholes. Here, there's none of that. They're just assholes. The characters are just lacking here, which leads this movie to having the standard horror movie problem of most of the characters are unlikable assholes and you're just waiting for them to get killed. It's somewhat satisfying to see them die, yeah, but the movie just doesn't have the heart of the first two, and it's sorely missing. The only death I even slightly cared about was Andy's nerdy roommate Whitehurst. Not even because he's a great character, but because he's the only character who dies who isn't a total piece of shit. And this whole romance plot falls completely flat. All that being said, the practical effects are as good as ever. The articulation and movement on him are very natural. This just in, this scene has a funny extra in the background.
Can I talk to you about Chucky? You mean Charles? Have you seen him?
Not since last night.
He's hiding somewhere.
The kills in this one aren't that good either. I mean, I know the series is not like Friday the 13th where the whole point is just upping themselves with the creativity of the kills. They're just not that good in this one. You know, Chucky's just a little guy. There's only so much he can do. But the military school setting even further limits what you can do. And the movie itself knows this. It's why it breaks from the military school setting at the end, where there just happens to be an amusement park nearby. I mean, I'm glad they did. Like, this amusement park scene is honestly, it rivals the ending of Child's Play 2 for me, just in sheer creativity. More movies should have amusement park scenes. Fuck it, make a whole movie set in an amusement park that isn't Escape from Tomorrow. And here, we continue the tradition of Chucky getting absolutely demolished. So yeah, that's Child's Play 3. I don't really have much to say about it. I honestly don't hate it that much. It just lacks the heart of the original two and ends up just a bog standard slasher movie. Like I said, I don't hate it. I was never bored, but I wasn't that invested either, unfortunately. What the fuck is this score?
And when I'm done with you, I'd let the dogs chew on you.
You got something to say? Say it!
The franchise lay dormant for 7 years, which is honestly insane to me. Usually these horror franchises get absolutely run into the ground, so it's surprising they only made 3 before stopping for so long. And it returns this time with a radical change in tone, sliding into a full-on horror comedy. Best exemplified by the opening scene, forgoing the usual atmospheric horror opening in favor of a butt rock song. And also this film decides to forego the Andy storyline completely. And I like both these changes. You know, Chucky is a funny character. It only makes sense that this series would eventually lean into the comedy. And regarding Andy, I know I made a big deal about him being the heart of the first 2 films, but every horror franchise eventually makes the switch from being about the victims to the killer. So it was only a matter of time, and also it just frees up the creative opportunities of the franchise. It means we can go in different directions or follow new characters. For example, Tiffany, Chucky's ex-lover, who steals Chucky's body from the police evidence locker and reawakens him using the same voodoo ritual he used. And Tiffany Valentine, played by Jennifer Tilly, is incredible. She really establishes her character right away, just being an absolute horn dog for serial killers.
Oh
Oh my God, you really did a number on him, didn't you? What did you use? Was it really bloody? Did he scream a lot?
Rekindling her love affair with Chucky by letting him kill this douche she hangs out with. And Jennifer Tilly gives a great performance. She knows exactly what kind of movie this is. It's complete camp, and she's hamming it up, but in a really fun and endearing way.
Sorry, I'm not into short guys.
She's a fan favorite character for a reason. The one thing I'm not too sure I like, the movie is trying to make Chucky cool and edgy. You know, this ain't your dad's Chucky, it's the Chucky of the 90s. And there's even some meta lines referencing it.
Chucky? He's so 80s.
No,
He
he's
seems
not.
scary.
Yes, he is.
Look at him. You look at that punk. You looking at me?
Which I just don't like any of the meta jokes in this. This came in the wake of Scream, a great self-aware meta horror film that spawned a legion of less clever imitators. This film sadly being one of them. You know, Scream was smartly written and had things to say, and the meta stuff in this just really doesn't work, and it's really obvious. There's this whole subtext about Chucky needing to change with the times.
For God's sake, Chucky, drag yourself into the 90s. Stabbings went out with Bundy and Dahmer. You look like Martha Stewart with that thing.
Who the fuck is Martha Stewart?
But like, the original Child's Play was only 10 years old. It wasn't like some archaic, dated thing back then. And maybe this is just hindsight and me not being there at the time, but was Chucky this like dated 80s thing? Were people really just not on board with the series because they thought it was cheesy and dated and corny? I don't really know. It just feels a little too try-hard for me. And it kind of goes against what I love about the series, is that it's just so unashamedly silly. This movie feels like it is shamedly silly. It's trying to justify itself and be cool, and I just don't like that. I like the cornball, wacky energy that the other films have. Though, back to the positives, the puppet work is insanely good here. Like, series high good. I also appreciate Chucky's new look. Every movie thus far just restores Chucky completely, keeping the pristine doll look. But here he's all tattered and beat to shit. It makes him scarier. It works for this darker, edgier rebrand of Chucky. And also it works well with the whole Frankenstein homage they've got going on in this film.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
The whole scene where Tiffany dies is incredible. I just want to mention the filmmaking on display here is great. It's nothing super groundbreaking, but it's just a really well-made movie. There are all these split diopter shots, which are just always nice to see. It definitely has a distinct visual style, which I appreciate. You know, I wish more horror movies would get this out there with the visuals. A lot of the shots feel uncanny in a way that I think works with the whole heightened tone and heightened reality that this series has. Anyway, I should probably explain why Chucky kills his girlfriend. See, Chucky wants Tiffany to help him out, but she's pissed because he doesn't want to marry her. And they trick this guy into delivering these 2 dolls to New Jersey. Because Chucky had an amulet he was wearing. That's why it didn't work in the previous films, is because he didn't have the amulet. I don't know why Chucky just realizes this now. He didn't realize, like, how did he forget? Anyway, the guy convinces his girlfriend to run away with him to New Jersey, and so she's coming along too. And these are our main human characters here. And I actually kind of like them. At first I was like, oh, this romance doesn't work. It's kind of lame and cheesy. But I think it works as a contrast to Chucky and Tiffany's relationship. You know, just seeing Chucky and Tiffany be mean and cruel to each other for a lot of the runtime, as funny as it is, it just makes it nice to have this contrast of this couple that is genuinely, like, supportive of each other. And the fact that they are, like, young and in love justifies them being so lovey-dovey and into each other. And maybe it's just that the movie is so, like, kind of edgy and mean-spirited that I actually just enjoyed these likable characters. Especially, like I said, as a contrast to Chucky and Tiffany.
I'd do anything for you. Anything at all. You know that, right? Right?
I guess I'm burying the lead here. The movie's funny. It succeeds at being a horror comedy, which is good for a horror comedy. Not all the gags land. Like I said, I don't like the meta jokes.
How did you end up like this?
Well, it's a long story.
It sure is.
In fact, if it was a movie, it would take 3 or 4 sequels just to do it justice.
But some of them, I genuinely laughed at the absurdity of it, like Chucky and Tiffany's sex scene. Normally, I would play a clip of it now, but genuinely, I don't know if YouTube would take it down. And what I love about the gags is it doesn't just devolve into an absurdist comedy, although there are absurdist elements, like the puppet sex scene. It still treats the horror scenes seriously enough. The movie maintains a good contrast between the serious dark horror and the absurdist comedy. These bits are funny, but they're funnier when you have something to ground them in. And it is a silly fucking movie. It's basically a Chucky and Tiffany road trip movie. They're just going around killing people, fucking around, bickering, arguing. And speaking of that, I want to talk about this aspect of the movie. All of the Chucky movies have queer subtext to them. I already went into that a bit in the first 2 movies. You know, Andy being a lonely and alienated kid and kind of just left to fend for himself. And watching Bride of Chucky, I get the feeling that Chucky and Tiffany are a parody of a straight couple.
Here I am slaving away over a hot stove, making cookies, making Swedish meatballs, and for what? For a man who doesn't appreciate me. For a man who isn't even a man at all, where it counts, if you get my drift. Take it from me, honey. Plastic is no substitute for a nice hunk of wood.
I didn't hear her complaining last night.
Like, the main heroes get the upper hand on Chucky and Tiffany by getting them to argue over the dishes.
You were nice enough to cook for him. The least he could do is wash the dish.
Where the hell did you learn to bake?
How dare you speak to me that way?
You started it!
I think when I first saw this movie as a youngster, I just thought this was all like stand-up comedian stuff. Women and men be like this. But now watching it with the full context, I think this is a satire. After all, we're supposed to root for Jesse and Jade, the human couple. You know, the ones who are like actually nice to each other. And again, this is why I say I like them as a contrast to Chucky and Tiffany. And I even like Tiffany's arc. Her arc is basically realizing Chucky's a shitty boyfriend.
Chucky, look at us. We belong dead. Goodbye, darling. I'll see you in hell.
So Chucky and Tiffany die. Or do they? They do. For now.
I always come back!
Yay. But dying is such a bitch.
Man, I wish they continued the tradition of completely obliterating Chucky in every movie. They just shoot him here, and I wish he would have exploded or something, or get struck by lightning. I don't know. I'm a freak. But speaking of explosions, oh no, there's a baby! And that's Bride of Chucky. I liked it. It's certainly a mixed bag. Not everything is good in it. The raunchier jokes are sometimes funny and sometimes eye-rolling. The meta aspect is sometimes cute and sometimes forced. And the scares are sometimes effective, but sometimes by the numbers. In conclusion, Bride of Chucky is a land of contrasts. It's good. It's better than Child's Play 3 for sure, but it doesn't match the quality of the original 2. And fuck you, Rick Steiner, you were the real dummy! So Seed of Chucky. This movie was reviled upon release. Pretty universally agreed to be the worst Chucky movie. And I mean, why? You know, why do people hate this one so much? The movie starts off with CGI sperm. Yeah, you know in the last review when I said Bride of Chucky slid into comedy? Well, here it's like tumbling down a hill into comedy. The whole opening is following the conception of Chucky's kid, but this might be the most controversial thing I've said in a while. I actually kind of love Seed of Chucky. For one, The movie looks great. Don Mancini stepped into the directing chair this time, and for a first-time director, this movie looks great. You can tell he's a big fan of Lucio Fulci and Brian De Palma, but I love it. I think it works with this whole series vibe of unrestrained creativity. The first scene is all done from the seed's POV, and it's very well staged and effectively creepy. Though I have to admit, some of the effects are completely abysmal. Like this shot of the seed running away. I don't even know how they did it. It just looks so strange. Anyway, Chucky's seed has been kidnapped from the cemetery he was in the last film, and now he's forced to participate in this guy's ventriloquist act. They're also very insecure about their looks because they keep getting called a freak, and most of this guy's routine is just insulting the way they look.
I don't know much about myself. I know I'm an orphan, I know I'm a freak, and of course, I know that I'm Japanese.
Meanwhile, Hollywood is cashing in on the legend of Chucky and Tiffany.
You have any idea how that can fuck with your mind? Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind!
Chucky's broke again!
And this is the first instance of the movie throwing all fucks out the window. One of the actors in the movie is Jennifer Tilly. Now you may be a little confused because earlier I told you that Tiffany Valentine is played by Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly just also exists in this world and looks and sounds exactly like Tiffany Valentine, and it's never explained.
Just think, Jennifer Tilly is playing me in a movie. It's absolutely perfect casting.
I know I said I didn't like the meta aspects of Bride of Chucky, but I like them here because they're just balls to the wall insane. This movie is a Hollywood satire. You see, Redman, yes, Redman the rapper, is directing a biblical epic, and he wants Jennifer Tilly for the lead part.
You were great. You were super.
Thank you, Mr. Man. Oh, could I call you Red? Listen.
Apparently in the original script, it was supposed to be Quentin Tarantino playing himself, but he declined to show up in the movie. Coward. I assume because Jennifer Tilly never shows her feet. I really shouldn't like this movie as much as I do. I know I mentioned the last film was like hit or miss for me with its humor, but this movie is consistently funny in the campiest, stupidest way. John Waters has an extended cameo in this movie, which should tell you what it's going for. And also just the humor here feels more genuine. Like I said, the last movie, it felt like it was trying too hard to be cool. Here, it's fucking stupid and kind of cringe. And I love that. And that's so much more endearing to me. Though I will say the movie does just kind of happen. It's really like, what is the plot here? It's just one scene after another and they don't really connect well. Chucky randomly murders Britney Spears in one scene.
Oops, I did it again.
This shouldn't work. Why does it work? Normally I hate this kind of reference humor, but I think it's just because it's really the only time the movie does it. I mean, I guess you could say Redman being in the movie is reference humor, but it's not like funny, haha, Redman is the director. It's more that Hollywood satire angle. This is the only time in the movie it's explicitly, the joke is that a celebrity shows up. And also a lot of the comedy comes from the characters. I know I mention a lot of things that are wacky and wild, but there are a lot of jokes that come from the characters and how they react to certain situations rather than just the situations themselves. Like when the kid accidentally kills John Waters and Chucky is so proud of him that he takes a picture of his first kill, or Tiffany's whole thing where she's trying to recover from her murder addiction.
My name is Tiffany Ray. You don't know me, but a few years ago, I killed your husband, and I am so very, very sorry. But I want you to know I'm in recovery now, and I've put all of that behind me. Thank you, Mrs. Bailey. Have a nice day. I feel better already.
Those things are wacky, yes, but they also fit with the characters. It doesn't feel like they're suddenly acting wackier than they normally do. And the movie still manages to have a heart in Glenn/Glinda's arc. See, they managed to escape and resurrect their parents.
Who the hell are you?
Shitface.
And they're a little horrified to find that their parents are murderers. But Chucky and Tiffany are concerned with something else. Glenn/Glinda is not anatomically correct. And the whole conflict of the film is that Chucky wants Glenn to be a boy and Tiffany wants Glinda to be a girl.
Don't worry, Glinda. I've got that figured out too. You're going to be a real-life girl.
Boy.
And their bickering leads to this identity crisis for Glenn/Glinda.
What about what I want?
What?
What?
Think. I want to be a boy.
Yes!
But being a girl would be nice too.
Well, which is it?
I'm not sure. Sometimes I feel like a boy. Sometimes I feel like a girl.
It's a shockingly empathetic portrayal of gender fluidity, especially for a movie from 2004. It's never really made a joke out of. Like, Chucky is more concerned that his kid doesn't want to be a murderer.
I don't want to be a killer.
Oh, Glinda.
It really feels like this whole movie was created for this exact purpose.
I'm not ashamed to be a killer. I'm proud of it. And it is not something that you should have to hide in the closet. Whoa!
Even when the babies are born. Oh god. Oh god. Sorry, I left out a lot of plot in this review. The plot follows Chucky and Tiff trying to get Jennifer Tilly pregnant so that they can swap their kid into the body of the baby while they go into the bodies of the dude and Jennifer Tilly respectively. There are so many like classic films I would rate lower than this film. And when the babies are born, it's actually twins, one being a girl and one being a boy. And it leads to a genuinely touching moment.
First he has to choose.
I beg your pardon?
Sorry. She has to choose.
We don't have time for this shit.
Wait, Chucky. We have a son and a daughter. Maybe they don't have to choose.
Again, I'm just shocked this movie came out in 2004. And even Chucky has an arc in this movie. He accepts the fact that he's a killer doll, officially giving up his quest to be back in a human body.
I have had it. That's it. There is a limit to how much I can take.
Something about Chucky saying like, I'm at my limit, essentially, is so funny to me.
If this is what it takes to be human, then I would rather take my chances as a supernaturally possessed doll. It's less complicated. What's so great about being human anyway? You get sick. You get old. As a doll, I'm fucking infamous. And I don't want to give that up. I am Chucky, the killer doll. And I dig it.
This is why I like the movie. It's so unafraid of being stupid, but also it's unafraid of having a heart and trying to say something. I don't mind when a movie is stupid or silly or campy when it feels sincere. And honestly, that's kind of a microcosm of why I like the entire franchise. It's very silly, but also very sincere, and I love that combination.
I've learnt a lot about myself. I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not a freak. And even though we had our differences, I know my dad really loved me.
I certainly get why people hate this. It's not for everyone, to say the least, but I just can't bring myself to hate it. I only have one real issue with the film. Where's Scott Steiner?
Scott's the lead in my next project, so if you mess with Scott, you're messing with me and my Academy Award.
Yeah, like the movie's good, but if you add Scott Steiner to the mix, the critic scores drastically go up. And I mean, I can't argue with Chucky. This movie probably would have gotten an Oscar if Scott Steiner was in it.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend till the end.
That one's a classic.
9 years later, yeah, people hated Seed of Chucky that much. 9 years later. We got the direct-to-DVD reboot Curse of Chucky. Yeah, direct-to-DVD. People hated Seed of Chucky that much. Though this movie actually predates the industry trend of soft reboots.
Yeah, the 80s were awesome.
This time going back to its roots as a pure horror film. I still remember being scared of the DVD cover when I passed it by in Walmart, and I welcomed this idea. I loved Seed of Chucky. Sorry, but I recognize that was as far as you could go with comedy. Trying to up the ridiculousness and silliness from that movie is a completely losing game. However, Part of me wishes this movie would take itself a little less seriously. It lacks a lot of the knowing campiness the other films had. Not to say it's without camp, but you just get a lot of scenes with these characters. They're not like horrible, they have some interesting wrinkles to them. There's stuff there, but they're just not that fun to watch. They're a bit dull personality-wise. Too dull for how seriously the movie takes itself. It just feels like we're kind of back to stock looking around scenes. And the jump scares, particularly the fake outs, are abysmal.
Need a hand?
Though none of this is really that big an issue, I still like the film. Don Mancini returns as writer and director here, and he maintains his sharp eye for interesting compositions. I love this one shot where the camera rotates around Chucky to show the passage of time. For such a low-budget movie, it's pretty creative with how it uses its camera, and I always love to see that. Speaking of this shot, I love the new design of Chucky. It nails that uncanny valley look that make people afraid of these kinds of dolls in the first place. He's officially creepy again. I mean, just look at this little shit.
Women can't live with them, period.
And he's still funny, so there's that.
Say hi to the little woman for me. Maybe not.
The rest of Nika's family comes to console her, and they all eat a nice big chili dinner together.
I love chili.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Me too. Love it.
Anyway, none of them realize that Chucky has poisoned one of the bowls of chili. That sick bastard. Leading to a tense, if forced, scene of not knowing who's about to bite it. The bullet, that is. Not the chili. You don't bite into chili. This scene is kind of comical. The fake outs are kind of bad.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What?
This is amazing.
This movie does something I normally don't like when soft reboots / legacy sequels do. They lightly expand on Charles Lee Ray's backstory. I won't get into it too much, but I think it works because it relates to Nika's family and sort of explains why they have a grudge, why he wanted specifically to kill Nika's mom. It's not just new backstory for the sake of it. It relates directly to Nika, the main character of the movie, who we actually care about. You know, Nika is played by Brad Dourif's real-life daughter, Fiona, and she does a great job. She really carries the weight of being the heart of this movie. Her family doesn't really think her capable enough to live on her own. They constantly downplay what she can do.
I'm disabled, Barb. I am not a child, and I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself.
It sort of plays into that alienation theme that's ran throughout the entire series, but with a new twist. And I think this is a great soft reboot because it doesn't fall into that trap a lot of soft reboots do where they just remake the first movie again. Like, there are similarities between this and the first movie. The whole not revealing Chucky until like at 50 minutes in or so is similar, and they do one scene that is a little too close to a scene from the original film, though it is funny.
He said that life's a bitch and then you die bleeding like a stuck pig.
And I just appreciate that. It feels like this is a new take on the series while also being a return to form. And I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. I know I said I didn't like the fake outs in this movie, but I actually do like one scene, the elevator scene. Nika is carrying Chucky upstairs to bring him back to her niece when the power goes out.
Ian? Anyone?
I think that's neat. But I do want to mention the ending. At the very end, after Nika has been committed to a mental institution after being framed for the murders, Jennifer Tilly makes a surprise cameo in like a sitcom bit where she sends Chucky through the mail.
Approximate value?
Well, my mother always used to say, you can't put a price on love.
Under $250 then.
And then after the credits, Alex fucking Vincent returns in another surprise cameo.
Play with this.
Andy!
It's pure fan service, but it's earned by the rest of the movie being so good and so restrained with that sort of thing. Apart from the jump scare ending, those things are always lame. Yeah, I didn't want to get too much into a play-by-play of this one. It's not tremendous, but it is just a really good, solid slasher movie. Not in the way that Child's Play 3 was. It's much better than that. There are some nice character dynamics and some effective scares. And ultimately, I think the reason I like it most is because it's memorable. It left an impact on me. Fun fact, I actually wrote a review for this movie in 2017 because I liked it that much. And I thought it did such an effective job of bringing the character back to his horror roots while also maintaining his humorous side. And it has a lot of creative set pieces that I really enjoy. And I think that's ultimately what matters, is it left an impact on me. I'm always gonna remember this movie, so it's good. The reason I didn't do that review is because I didn't want to just get too much into just telling you every scene that's good. And that's why this is probably the shortest review out of all the movies in this entire video, but it's worth a watch. I just wish it was a little bit sillier. Just what the doctor ordered. So after the ending of the last film, Andy and Tiffany are back as main characters this time around. Andy's still alienated now because of his trauma dealing with Chucky all his childhood. He still tortures a Chucky head he has saved, which is both sad and funny.
It's just me and you again tonight, pal.
Give me a hit off that, will you?
There's also a nice little reference to the military school he went to. I normally don't care about fan service Easter eggs like that, but I just wanted to mention it because I appreciate that this series has never retconned anything. For as stupid and nonsensical as this franchise sometimes is, they own it. And it gives all of it weight. Even though I didn't like Child's Play 3, I like that it happened. I like that they didn't just retcon it and pretend it didn't happen. I know whatever happens in this movie, whether I end up liking it or not, they're not just gonna retcon it and pretend it didn't happen in the next movie. You know, it's not like the Halloween series, which has more timelines than good films. And that's why I appreciate these characters coming back and why I appreciate all these continuity references. Like when Tiffany shows up to meet with Nika for the first time, they actually acknowledge that Jennifer Tilly exists as an actress in this universe.
Did anyone ever tell you look exactly like Jennifer Tilly?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
It's fan service, yes, but it embraces what the series is in all aspects. Even Seed of Chucky, the silliest movie in the franchise, is still canon and they will still reference it. But anyways, the movie follows Nika as she somehow ends up with 2 Chucky dolls in the same hospital. See, her therapist thinks it'd be good to get her a Chucky doll because it'll help with her trauma and all that.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
It's a good guy doll. One of thousands made back in the 80s.
No, he said Chucky.
They had 50 different names. 2% of them were Chucky.
Where'd you get it?
Hot Topic.
And Tiffany brings in the real Chucky as a gift to finish the job.
Oh shit, what are you doing here? I came to finish the job and beat your ass like your parents didn't do it. Oh god.
And there being 2 Chuckies really lets the movie have fun playing with your expectations of which one's the real one. Now you may be wondering how Chucky's head is with Andy, considering he's also in the hospital. Well, that's the big reveal of this movie. Chucky has learned to split his soul into multiple bodies.
A few years ago, I came across this groovy new spell on voodoofordummies.com that changed everything.
Thus, the cult of Chucky. Andy learns about this and heads off towards the hospital to save Nika. Meanwhile, Nika's therapist is revealed to be an abusive piece of shit. The movie's portrayal of mental illness is stereotypical, to say the least. Like, its heart is in the right place, but it's not quite right. The hospital staff constantly insists that these people are just crazy and that they shouldn't be trusted with anything they say, which is what allows Chucky to get away with his kill. The most heartbreaking moment is this skeptic woman who, upon being bit by the real Chucky, immediately realizes she was wrong, only for her to be immediately disbelieved.
Holy shit. What are you doing? Dr. Foley, it's true.
Leading to her being restrained and eventually killed by Chucky.
Sometimes I scare myself.
And this whole idea is furthered by this abusive therapist character. It's revealed that he uses hypnosis sessions to take advantage of Nika, but not before convincing her that she's really crazy and making all this up. It's a really dark twist, almost too far for how silly the rest of the movie is, but I think it works because it fits with this whole theme of people in power taking advantage of vulnerable people, which is honestly a theme dating back to the first Child's Play movie. You could honestly look at the series as a whole as a metaphor for abusive relationships. You know, Chucky preys on Andy's loneliness, then Tiffany's, and then Nika's. So while this whole plot element is horrible, I think it fits. And also, Chucky agrees that this guy sucks.
Holy shit! And they call me sick? This guy is diabolical.
And this clashing tone makes the jokes funnier and the dark elements darker. The movie's really emotionally affecting. Like, I was really heartbroken by this woman who believes the Chucky doll is her son. And her whole death is probably the most tragic in the entire series. It genuinely got me emotional. And then pretty soon after, you have these multiple Chuckies running around and it just goes full camp.
I'm just saying it behooves us to watch our step. Behooves. Listen to you.
They're all just like shit-talking each other.
I never felt so alive! Yeah, well, you've been alive for like 2 minutes.
They start arguing over who gets to kill Andy.
No, I want to kill Andy. I earned it. I've been through a lot today. You got to suck titty today. Look what happened to me. Look at my hair. Oh shit, you win. Absolutely. Sorry, pal, you go fuck him up real good.
So Chucky's new goal, after he came to terms with being a doll in Seed of Chucky, his new goal is to blow up and act like you don't know nobody. No, it's to kill as many people as possible. He just loves murder and he wants to do it as much as he can. You know, you gotta love someone who follows their dreams. It's just that sometimes transferring his soul into a human body is more useful for killing. And this time, he chooses Nika to transfer his soul into, and he, for the first time in the series, actually succeeds. So anyway, Chucky is now in Nika's body, and you can tell Fiona Dorff is having a fucking blast playing Chucky, and then he stomps this guy's fucking face in. Normally, I don't like making a character intentionally unlikable just so, for the sake of when they die, everyone cheers. But fuck this guy, I cheered when he died. He's such a slime ball that it's earned for me. And again, it ties in thematically, so it's earned in that way as well. Okay, as much as I love the ending and how bonkers it gets, I do have problems with it. It's really symptomatic of the whole movie. This movie ends on a cliffhanger. It ends with Chucky and Tiffany riding off into the sunset, and Andy is still locked up in the asylum. And the movie was satisfying enough on its own. It goes so many weird directions. And I don't hugely mind, but it's just, it feels like the end of this movie was a big lore dump. I didn't really like this movie when I first saw it, when it first came out, because I felt like this was just filler and just a lore dump. Now, removed from that and knowing that's where the movie ends, I can appreciate it more, especially after marathoning all the other movies in the series. As a part of the whole series, this movie's great, but as its own film, it's still really good and really fun, but the ending falls a bit flat because it just feels like setup for a future great movie. As its own movie, it just leaves you feeling a little cold, and not just in the whole cliffhanger aspect of it. I think the movie's a little too dark at points. I know that sounds weird to say for a horror movie. It just feels way more mean-spirited than the others. Like, never before in a Chucky movie have this many sympathetic characters died. And I get it, to some extent it should be a little mean-spirited. It is a horror movie after all. But combined with the cliffhanger kind of unsatisfying ending, it just hits a weird note. And not weird in a good way like most of the series has been. And this isn't too much of a detriment. I still really like Cult of Chucky. It ups the camp from Curse, which is a plus, while maintaining the comedy tone of the original three. And more importantly, the heart of the original three. Original 2. Also, props to this movie for having the best movie poster tagline of all time. You may feel a little prick, 10 out of 10, no notes. I legitimately forgot this movie existed. Like when I decided to review all the Chucky movies, I was like, yeah, 7 movies, that's pretty good, 7 movies. I don't know what to say, I forgot this existed. This is the only entry in the entire series not written by Don Mancini. And it shows. It's not a bad movie, it's really not. It's fine. A lot of people don't like this movie because it reimagines Chucky's origin. Here he's a buddy doll. A smart doll because they gotta be hip and current. I'm glad they made an effort to differentiate themselves from the original. I think just doing the same thing would invite more comparisons to the original, and here it feels like its own thing, and it gives the movie a reason to exist. But I think they did have something here with that relationship between Andy and Chucky. It made me feel something, so kudos, but it didn't really go anywhere. And as the movie progresses, it goes more into a straight horror film, and it sucks. And it loses all of its potential. It's just a worse version of the original. With less fun kills, no real quips from Chucky other than the Tupac line, which is admittedly funny.
This is for Tupac.
It's smart, it's periodically funny, and it's not a bad time, it's just not that charming. It's not something I'll remember or care about after I'm done with this video. Like I said, I forgot the movie existed. The studio is really at fault for greenlighting this. Don Mancini did not agree to this remake being made. He was busy working on the Chucky TV show and was worried that a new reboot of the movie would make people less interested in the show or just cause brand confusion, and they made it without him, although I think he does have like an executive producer credit on it. It's shitty. That's not really the fault of the people who worked on this movie, all the creative people. For as much as I criticize it, they did their best with a bad idea, and they did an admirable job. But at the end of the day, I have to be honest, and as much as I empathize with artists trying to get their original ideas across, but being forced to shove their triangle-shaped ideas into these IP circle holes, the original series, as corny and campy and sometimes bad that it is, it will leave a far bigger impact on my life than this film ever will. As much as you can criticize them, they came from the heart, and this movie didn't. At least it didn't feel like it. I like weirdo movies, okay? It's why I love the series. I want more weird movies, and this movie isn't weird. Part of why I liked Seed of Chucky was how fucking insane it is. And I don't want to be the person who just whinges about modern movies being bad, or it's bad because it's a remake, or because it changes things from the original. My problem is that it's not that different. It doesn't do anything I've never seen before, or even close to it. It's fine. It's good. You know, if you watch it, you won't regret your time with it, but you're probably not going to remember it like I did. If you watch Seed of Chucky, you'll never forget it. If you watch... What movie was I talking about again?
Don't fuck with the Chuck!
I love the Chucky series. They're also weird and out there, and they feel like they come straight from Don Mancini's heart. I should also mention the TV show Chucky, which continues the storyline from Cult of Chucky. After going through the entire series like this, I definitely want to watch it, and maybe I'll make a video on it someday. Add it to the fucking list of videos that I said I'll eventually get around to. Anyway, Jesus Christ, this video is much longer than I thought it would be, so let's just get to the ranking. From worst to best, at the very bottom, Child's Play 3. It's fine, it's not offensively bad, it's just a generic slasher, which is a crime given the shocking consistency of the series. That's another reason I love the series so much, by the way, is just there's not really a bad movie in it. Even this one at the very bottom, I still like it. It wasn't like a horrible movie or anything, it was just kind of generic and mid. Next we have Child's Play 2019, a really good, solid movie that's kind of forgettable and not that emotional, and lacks that personal angle that all the other movies have coming from the same writer. Next up, I had trouble ranking these next two because they're sort of on equal playing field for me, but I eventually went with Curse of Chucky. It's a good slasher, but it takes itself a bit too seriously and takes a while to get going. Next up at number 5 is Bride of Chucky. This one's a really fun time, but some of the jokes I don't like. I don't like some of the meta elements, and just a couple small things bring this one down for me. At number 4 is Cult of Chucky, a really fun time that gets really wacky near the end. The only thing holding it back is the ending feeling too much like a cliffhanger. But other than that, it's a really good movie. At number 3, and this may be controversial, but it's the original Child's Play. I love the atmosphere of it. And it's a horror movie that makes you feel something. It's rightfully considered a classic. At number 2 is Seed of Chucky. At first, I ranked this like a couple spots lower, I think below Cult of Chucky, and I realized the only reason I was putting it lower was to avoid someone commenting L ranking LMFAO. So fuck it, if I'm being honest, Seed of Chucky is my second favorite. It's so wacky and off the walls. I haven't seen that many movies like Seed of Chucky, which is always a plus in my book. And again, it really feels like it came from Don Mancini's heart. But with all that said, it really wasn't close. Number 1 is Child's Play 2. It's just the perfect encapsulation of what makes me love the series. It's the perfect amount of silly, the perfect amount of horror, and the perfect amount of heart. So that's my ranking. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, I guess. Comment what's your favorite Child's Play movie. Why do you think I'm stupid for liking Seed of Chucky? I hope that doll I placed at the beginning of the video doesn't... Chester!
It's not easy being cheesy.
Hey Nova. Nova. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.